Alright, how many times have you guys been in this scenario? You load into Rocket League for the first time of the day, so you decide to go into training. You know, you're feeling pretty good. You kind of feel like you're hitting shots, and finally getting more consistent with your mechanics, so you decide to head into comp, fully warmed up. Then, this happens. This is what I like to call the training boost phenomenon, and this happens to almost all Rocket League players. Now, training boost phenomenon can be defined as perceived consistency in training, but inconsistency in game. This is the feeling that you get when your training car control and ability seems so much better than how you actually perform in game. Now, how can you, as a Rocket League player, overcome this phenomenon? Take your skills from training into your ranked games and master your overall car control. Well, you can. No, I'm just kidding. In this video, I'll explain the easiest 5 steps you need to drastically improve at controlling your car and stop looking like a bot when you go up for an aerial. This training routine will start out with ground control, and we'll work our way up to aerial control so you can get the most important mechanics from each level of control. Make sure to watch through each part of the routine, because missing a step will cause you to lose out on essential training and lessons you will need to improve. And remember, the most important step is to like and subscribe right now, so go do that. Now, without further ado, let's get into the video. To begin your car control training, you gotta warm up with some simple recovery training. Now, since this is step 1 of the training routine, all you want to do is head into free play and warm those fingers up. Now, this part of the training focuses on simple ground mechanics such as half flips, wave dashes, and speed flips. If you don't know how to do these mechanics consistently, this first step will help you tremendously. You want to head around the map doing as many recovery mechanics as possible, trying to challenge yourself to see what crazy things you can do with your car. Oftentimes, players don't really train off the ball mechanics. Putting focus into this step can drastically improve your car control and separate you from other players in your rank who don't focus on these aspects of the game. Now, after you've warmed up for about 5 minutes, you can move on to the next step, where the training truly begins. Let's start with what I like to call the awkwardness drill. To start off, head into free play and just hit the ball around. Simple enough, right? Wrong. With the awkwardness drill, you want to make it as awkward as possible for you to recover and hit the ball, and I mean awkward. You are not doing it right unless you feel like a complete bot flopping around the field. However, this is good. This is the first step to improving your car control. If you feel like you are unable to control your car at certain points, that means these are areas you need to improve. This drill reveals the inconsistencies with your recovery and movement mechanics on the ball, and works to improve your control over these situations. You want to put yourself in as many awkward positions as possible to get a feel for new ways to recover and move yourself around the field. Now, we can further split up this drill into 2 parts, fast play and slow play. In order to fully grasp car control, you must be able to react to both slow, controlled situations and fast-paced counter-attack situations. With the awkwardness drill, we can train both situations extremely efficiently. For fast, high-octane play, you simply want to smash the ball around the field and try to speed up your gameplay past what you feel comfortable with. This means pre-jumping balls, trying to read wall bounces, anything that makes you feel uncomfortable with reacting to. Try and make contact with the ball. This is where you can truly test yourself and increase your gameplay speed. For slow, controlled play, you want to hit the ball around and make it awkward for you to control the ball. The aim of this training is to get you comfortable with being able to catch and dribble the ball in any situation. You want to be able to use your recovery mechanics to get back to controlling the ball with your car. Admittedly, this is pretty challenging for lower ranked players, so plat players and below should stick with fast, awkward training, and work their control up to training slow, controlled play, as you will see results the fastest. After you've done the awkwardness drill for about 5 to 10 minutes, you can move on to the aerial control portion of the training. Your third and arguably the most fun drill is to do some aerial car control games. Now, there are a bunch of different fun ways to train aerial car control, and I'll give you guys a few options right now. First, for PC players, the most fun way you can train aerial car control is by using workshop maps. Leptomir's Rings map and any of the speed jump maps are super fun maps you can use to improve your aerial car control. Again, really try to challenge yourself. If you feel you can easily go through the maps facing forwards, then try it facing backwards. Then try to incorporate air roll. You want to learn how to get comfortable with your car in any position, and increasing difficulty is only going to help you achieve this goal. Now for you console players, don't worry. I have a few awesome alternatives to workshop maps that can help you out just as much. Basically, you can enter this training code which puts you outside the map, and using this, you can fly to these buildings and practice weaving in and out of them. Okay, editor Calvin here. So I'm trying this out again and I realized it takes like 2 minutes just to reach the building, which is kind of annoying. So you can honestly just use the next option I'm about to give you. I'm still keeping this in though because it's pretty cool that you can fly outside the map, so yeah, back to the video. If this doesn't seem appealing, I have yet another option for you guys. Now, I went over this in my directional air roll guide, but this training method can apply to all forms of aerial car control. I like to call this training routine figure eights. You want to head into the pillars map in free play and fly up into the air. Basically, the aim of this routine is to try to complete a figure eight around the pillars. Now, this seems fairly simple, but it's a lot harder than you think. This routine forces you to get comfortable with awkward camera angles and making sharp adjustments in the air. Make it your goal to get a faster time on each figure eight, and make it harder for yourself by trying to go backwards the whole time, or using air roll the whole time. Once you have done one or a combination of the 3 drills I've given you for about 15 minutes, you can head into yet another fun way to improve. For the 4th drill, we have mechanics training. This is your time to dedicate all your efforts to practicing one specific mechanic. This could be anything you want. Air dribbles, breezy flicks, Athena flicks, anything you so choose. But you have to stick with that one mechanic throughout this step. This is the most important part. You cannot get distracted by practicing 2, 3, or 4 different new mechanics. Sticking to learning one mechanic will simultaneously drastically improve your abilities with that specific mechanic, but it will also develop the necessary muscle memory for increased car control. Now, you want to remember to stick to free play only. Going into training packs dedicated to practicing a specific mechanic will only make you consistent in those exact situations. This is a main reason why you experience training boost phenomenon in-game. You only practice these mechanics from specific scenarios, which makes it extremely hard to transition these mechanics to other situations. This is why free play is so goated. It allows you the variety to set up a mechanic from any position on the field, causing you to gain much more control over your car than only learning the mechanic from specific set positions. Oh yeah, big disclaimer here. If you do not know how to half flip, wave dash, or fast aerial, you must learn these before any other mechanic. These 3 mechanics are foundational, and they are essential to know for every rank. If you do not know how to do any number of these, focus on training this first before you move on to air dribbles and flip resets. Once you have trained this for 10 minutes, you can move on to the final and my personal favorite drill. Play the game. Head into each game with the goal of focusing on improving your car control. This means actively paying attention to your recoveries, your mechanics in the air, and your control with the ball. The best way to improve your car control in game-specific situations is to simply play more games. Now, I found that I improve the most when I focus on a specific aspect of my car control to improve. For example, recently I feel like my recoveries have been lacking. So to improve at my overall control, I practice this specific part of my gameplay. For me, this means focusing more heavily on the recovery part of the training routine, and actively thinking about my recoveries in-game so it can become muscle memory. Remember, your main goal with car control is to break the curse of the training boost phenomenon, and effectively take your car control skills from training into the real game. This can only be done by breaking the same old routine of going into free play with no purpose, and instead following this training routine. To recap, let's go over the 5 steps you need to improve your car control. Start out with 5 minutes of recovery training to warm up. Then, head into awkwardness training for 5 minutes to increase speed and adjustments. Next, head into aerial control games for 10 minutes to get down aerial car control. After that, do some mechanic training for 10 minutes to get control with the ball. And finally, play the game for as much as you want to get yourself cracked. You can definitely shorten or lengthen this training routine depending on how much time you have to train and the specific areas you want to improve. If you continue working on this routine, along with bringing these specific car control aspects into gameplay, you will see massive improvement in your overall car control. Remember to smash that like button and subscribe if you enjoyed, because I have so much more funny content and tips to share with you guys, so stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching, love y'all.